And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100% agree. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
That's right. We are back. We are live. It is the Weighing In podcast, and we are ready to do damage tonight. I just damaged my mic. Oh, my God. But what are you doing besides choking on your own bone?
The New Zealand, what is that? The dance.
Oh,
what
you're doing the haka.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know if it's working, but whatever.
I'm sure a lot of people are scared.
I'm sure they're not.
Don't be scared.
What's going on?
What's up, everybody? What is up? What is up? Lots to talk about. A lot of good news. A lot of obviously bad news in the sport as well, but a lot of good news though, and good conversation. I think back and forth. You know, we have the not this week, but the following week, I believe, is the Pantoja and Kai Asakura fight. I saw a quick video on that fight, man. Oh, not fight, but some video footage of Merab with Asakura, and Merab having a hard time getting Asakura down.
Oh yeah.
And just watching them, it was kind of cool to see. And Asakura actually kind of like flinging him around in some scenarios. Now I know it's practice. We're just talking about practice.
Just talking practice.
I'm not gonna, and also too, when you have fighters that are cutting the weight down at like 125 or to cutting weight down, and they're training with someone that's the weight class above, their normal walk around is probably not that far off from each other. No, I don't know how much weight Merab cuts. Asakura looks huge for 125, but I think when I saw the two of Merab and Asakura working together, I was thinking to myself, damn, he's a lot bigger than I thought. So good on that. But John, I guess the hidden story on that fight card though is Shavkat and Ian Gary. I know it's not really hidden. Everyone's talking about it. The buzz, somebody owes got to go. But then Cyril Gahn versus Volkov is on that card. And Bryce Mitchell and Crone Gracie. I mean, just those fights right there. I'm gonna go back also to Anthony Smith and Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes kind of like feels like he's starting to kind of make his push.
Kind of getting a little bit of the walk back.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's a walk, but it's okay. It's the way it should be.
Take it.
Don't be in a rush, man. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
John, and then you have Evolov and Sterling is the main event on the prelims.
I know.
That's fucked.
No, hey, you take a look and I don't know. To me, Aljamain's in that position where it's okay. You know what? You're making your move. You've got a hell of a fight, but this is a fight that, you know what? I actually think he matches up well. His skill set matches up well with Evolov. Evolov's undefeated, but look, certain people, and they just do things different than anybody else in the training room, and they are. Aljamain is similar to me as to a Patchy Mix. He's like a human backpack. He's so good at taking the back, and then when he gets it, he just doesn't lose it most of the time. So he could be a problem for Evolov. Evolov needs to be very careful.
Look, I'm going to go out on a limb here and just say I think Sterling gets the submission and beats him.
Okay, I can see it.
I think Sterling's going to get to the back. He may not. Maybe he won't finish him, but I think Sterling wins this fight. I think he's found his newfound weight class. I think, outside of a world beater of a striker, I don't really see how Evolov wins this fight. He can be taken down. He's a good wrestler. He can scramble. He rolls well, all of these things. But Sterling, I think, to me, is on another level in the grappling department in terms of the submission-wise. He can at least get to the back. He takes the back. He reminds me a lot of Patchy Mix. I think Patchy's a little bit better of a grappler, just technically, but both of them are fantastic. I think on any given day, either one could beat each other in the grappling department. But in the Evolov fight, I'm leaning all the way towards Sterling. I think Sterling gets this takedown. I think he controls the round by round. And as each takedown happens, it gets easier to get. He'll continue to dominate those positions, I believe. So I think he's going to win this fight.
Well, we see, if you look and you saw what Diego Lopez did in his opening fight, debut fight with UFC against Evolov, there was a lot of things that he did that were really good and gave Evolov some problems. Evolov got the win. And then, but Sterling can look at what was done in that fight, take a lot of little key points off of it and try to implement it into his game. It fits well with what he does. I think it's a great, when we talk about the main card of the prelims, maybe Sterling doesn't like it because he was a former champ, but hell, we've seen former champ opening up the prelims on certain cards. So who cares, man? As long as you're out there, you're doing your thing, and people get to put their eyes on you.
Hey, Adam Wisnens. Freedom. He said Scotland. I had to give him the freedom, the whole, William Wallace. Sorry. I just had to do it.
Okay.
I was reading sorry, John. I read the comments right now.
Yeah, you're reading comments.
I'm looking at the card over here on the left. I'm doing everything I can, man. I'm doing the best I can. I'm drinking my LMNT.
So many things. Thank you very much.
This episode is brought to you by LMNT.
Hello.
As well as BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150 for BetUS. Bro, they're going to hook you guys up. 150% bonus on your first deposit, 125% bonus on your next two. All right, let's go ahead and let's move on. Look, this card's pretty stacked. I mean, like, I'm looking at, whoops, I just clicked on something. I'm looking at this card, man. You got Anthony Smith, Dominic Reyes. You got Vicente Luque, and how do you say his last name? Garimbo. And then you got Sterling and Eveloff, which we just talked about. But look, let's go on down here. Brian Battle and Randy Brown, Chris Weidman and Anders, Cody Durden and Joshua Van. I mean, Michael Chiesa and Max Griffin, Clay Guida and Chase Hooper. These are the prelims.
Yeah.
And then Kennedy and how do you say his name? Chikawu.
Yeah. Kennedy and Chikawu.
And I mean, like, so there's some big, in terms of name value, there's a lot of fighters on here that people should know their names. Yeah. It's a pretty stacked card.
No, it is.
And it kind of makes sense. It's December. They're trying to cram in as much as they can before the end of the year. Trying to get all those fighters' contracts paid. That's what they're trying to do. They want to write it off before next year's taxes.
Well, they want. It's not that they want to write it off, but they want to make sure that, okay, I fulfilled your contract, and you're having to at least fight for it instead of me just paying you.
Well, look, we could talk about some fighters are not able to get fights right now in this promotional world, and right now the UFC is doing a great job making sure their fighters are getting paid right before Christmas. Great job by them. All right, but look, outside of that, I mean, John, the Kai Pantoja and Asakura fight, great fight. But let's talk a little bit about Ian Gary and Shavkat. How do you see that fight going? I'm not going to get fully into the rest of the card. I want to talk about that. It's a huge fight. It's got to go.
I'm being honest. When I look at that fight, I look at it, and obviously both guys are undefeated. And to sit there and say, oh, this guy can't win the fight, just bullshit. Both guys can definitely win the fight. But I look at it and I say that Shavkat can win the fight in more areas than Ian Gary. I think Ian Gary has to be very technical in his stand-up, needs to use a lot of straight shots, a lot of teep kicks up the middle, things straight ahead, nothing that gives Rakhmonov the ability to get the takedown easy. Ian Gary is not going to be an easy person just to take down off of, a normal, double leg. And that's really not the way that you're looking at Shavkat doing it. So I look at Ian Gary winning this fight if it stays on the feet and he's able to utilize his length and his stand-up in a way that might be a little boring, might not be the most exciting fight, but more of a pointing, just picking his shots, volume striking against Shavkat. I look at Shavkat looking towards trying to open it up with the striking to get to a takedown, get the takedown, and then do damage to Gary on the ground, and then look for the submission and the finish.
I think it's going to be a fantastic fight.
We're going to see. It's if you're Ian Gary, you got to be. I look at this in the same way that I looked at Ian against MVP. MVP, I looked at, and Ian Gary was talking all kinds of snap about, I can beat him on the feet. He's nothing. And then that, and we all, you and I said, hey, if that's the way you're looking at it, you got problems. You need to take this fight to the ground. And what did he do? He took the fight to the ground multiple times. That's how he ended up winning the fight. And so he's a smart fighter, and he needs to follow another smart game plan against a specific type of fighter. And his road to victory, in my opinion, is to be that guy who's a sniper on the outside, keep Shavkat in a position where he's not comfortable on the feet, and utilize his length to just volume strike. Don't worry about the big shot. If it comes through multiples, great. but volume strike. Don't put yourself out of position. Don't overextend, and you can get the win.
Yeah, I mean, he may potentially end up being a boring fight, like you said.
Could be.
But I also look at Ian Gary's going to be the faster fighter.
Yes.
They're about very equal in size. I don't know what the reach is.
Yeah.
Maybe Dave can pull that up while we talk about this. See what the difference is in the reach. It's going to be close. I probably give Shavkat the slight edge on the reach. For sure, I give him the edge in the grappling and the wrestling department.
Yes.
But will he be able to get his hands on him? You know, one thing Ian Gary does very well is sticks and moves, stays on the outside. He's very difficult to get your hands on. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah.
What's the reach difference? Wow. Yeah. Shavkat with a little bit of the reach advantage. But look, what we learned in the Jeff Neal fight with Shavkat is that he's hittable.
Oh, yeah.
And Ian Gary being the faster fighter.
It also takes a good shot.
He does take a good shot. But, you know, I saw an old video of him. He got dropped in one of his fights. Came back and won the fight. But he got dropped and almost put away in one of his fights. He almost lost that O back then.
So did Ian Gary, though. You know,
yeah.
Dropped.
Yeah, he did. He fought back in the first round and got it. But, yeah. I thought overall, though, this is a fantastic fight. I'm surprised that they didn't have this as a separate fight as a main event somewhere.
Yeah. Well, it kind of, you know, you had Ian Gary was supposed to be fighting Joaquin Buckley, and that was a main event. And then, you know, they needed something to really up this card. And I think that was the fight that did it. And I think it was a great addition as the co-main event to a championship fight. It makes sense.
All right. Well, hey, you know what I love doing on this show the most is when
causing problems.
Dave, yes, and that's exactly what I'm doing. When Podcast Dave comes up with a plan on how the show is supposed to go, I always
just destroy it. Yeah.
Just basically just give away next week's show.
Yes. That's why. I didn't give away the whole show. I just talked a little bit about this, a little bit about that.
One little fight.
There'll be more stuff coming out before next week.
This is my life, guys. This
is your life. You have such a wonderful life. You've been dealing with me for about what, 7 years now? Maybe
longer than that.
Yeah, man. Gosh, you're blessed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and go. Let's talk about what everyone is here for. Obviously, which fight sells the most? John Jones versus Poatan, or John Jones versus Tom Aspinall? John, I'm going to give you the floor, man. Let you go ahead and give this rant. Let me know what you got.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't give a shit which one sells the most because I don't make the money. You know, I give a shit on which one I want to see the most.
Okay.
That's all that matters. Because when it comes to, you know, which fight sells the most, that means that's part of my money that's going away. So I don't care which one sells the most. I care about which one I would want to see the most. And when it comes to that, the one I'd want to see the most is the one that I think is the most competitive fight. And taking nothing away from Alex, I think John has an easier time with Alex based upon he's just way better in a specific group of skill sets than Alex, because Alex hasn't had that much time in the sport, where Tom Aspinall brings some problems into the equation for John. His size, his speed, his ability to actually fight on the ground, to match up with John. There's a lot of things that Aspinall can bring that I look and say, well, that is one of the tougher opponents that John Jones could face at this time. That's the fight I'd want to see. I can understand why someone would say, no, I would rather see Alex. That's okay. You know, it would still be a fun fight to see. I don't care which one. I just know that the UFC already told me you're not getting one of them.
Let's take a look at the guys. I'm going to go back in John Jones's history. Let's take a look at the guys that were about his size and how he had problems with them. Okay, like you look at Gustafsson, you look at Dominic Reyes, and I know that Santos was not
two of his toughest fights.
John Jones. Yeah, those are his two toughest fights. Literally, John Jones came out and said, with the fight with Dominic Reyes, he says, I got in the fight with him, and he was giving me a true fucking run for my money. I remember thinking to myself, fuck, you may have met your match, John. Walking back to the corner, he says, I saw a door in the octagon, and I was just like, hey, you've had a great career. You've done a lot of great things. This kid, he wants it. He's hungry for it. He's hungry for it, John. It's okay if you come up short in this one. Remember when I told you about the time that I was fighting Pat Healy?
Yeah, tell me you don't have these conversations with yourself in fights. This is what we try to tell people. These
All
are the
the
things running through fighters' minds. All these things that they have no idea. The fighter himself is always in a battle with himself and his opponent.
Well, you don't realize we are trying to find ways to quit and be okay with it inside that cage. And for some reason, our fucking asshole just tightens up and it says, no, not today, son.
Some people's do.
Some people do. Okay. But it's not today, son. We're not quitting today. We're not giving up. Win or lose, I'm fucking walking out of here with my head held high. I'm going to give it all I got. John puckered up a little bit and didn't let the little
didn't let the bunny out of the fucking bunny hole.
Yep. Little prairie dog coming out. But no, it was, and I've had these conversations with myself, and I think I've told the story plenty of times about the Pat Healy fight. I broke 2 ribs in my sternum. 3rd round takes me down. I'm like, oh, it's okay. You can barely breathe. Something's wrong with your chest. You know it's probably broken. Nah. As I'm doing that, I'm just slowly, steadily trying to get back to my feet. John Jones having this conversation with himself as he walked back to the corner. He's like, "There's the door. There's the cage to the."
No. It was funny because I listened to his take on it, and it wasn't like he was talking about the octagon door. He physically saw a door in front of him, and it was like, oh, that's the door out. I can walk through that door and it'll be okay. It is, but it's true, and it's not just him. It's all. A variety of fighters go through this, and it just happens in different fights that they're having a problem with. And this, we talk about it, we say, look, at the best fighters in the world end up fighting on days that it's just not their day, but somehow they figure out a way to win. And that was like one of those days for John, and he figured out the way to win. I'm not saying that I personally thought he lost. That was the first fight that I thought John Jones lost. I had it 3 rounds to 2 for Dominic Reyes, but judges didn't see it that way.
So when I look at the fight between him and Tom Aspinall, or I look at the fight between him and Alex Pereira, I'm going to take the Tom Aspinall fight just like you are. But the reason why I'm going to take it is because I want to see him fight somebody that's a true threat to his legacy. And then whatever, look, there's going to always be that person next. I don't believe that Alex got a puncher's chance. There's no doubt about that. Okay. But I don't think Alex is a true threat to him. There's too many ways that John can get this fight done. He can take the fight to the ground. He can still get it done on the feet. I'm not going to take away John's ability on the feet. He's just smart. Got great fight IQ. He can win this fight on the feet as well. It'd be a lot tougher fight for him. Alex. But when I go back to the conversation I started this with, was the guys he's had a hard time with are the guys that were physically his size. Now, Tom Aspinall is physically bigger than hhim. How will he handle that? He's sitting here saying, with the Dominic Reyes fight, maybe it's not my day. Maybe this is the fight that is done. This young guy is coming up. Tom Aspinall now could be that guy. And if I'm the PR in the UFC, that is your whole marketing plan.
Oh God, yes.
To say this is finally a threat, someone that can threaten John Jones's legacy. Is it time for him to hang it up, or can he just put that one extra notch on his belt and walk off into the sunset as the greatest to ever do it? That's like their whole. If I'm their PR, I'm thinking to myself, this is the way I can market this. This is a true threat, a real risk. Someone who can grapple off of his back, someone who can wrestle, someone who's got power on the feet. I got the knockout reels to show it. He's starching dudes like Pavlovich. I mean, are you kidding me? Who would have thought that, right? Everyone thought it would have been the other way around watching that fight. And there was talk of Pavlovich being the guy to fight John Jones and knock out John Jones and this and that, because he had the wrestling, he had this. No. Tom Aspinall has slid himself right in that spot. He's the interim champion, and everyone wants to see that fight. For me, it has to do with this is the first true test to his legacy of him being the greatest of all time. Now, you could talk about all the other fighters. I think, was it DC or somebody else? I can't remember. Someone's like, yeah, if you take a look at the guys that he fought when he fought him, most of them were kind of on the
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. There are some. You can sit there and say it. You can say that when he got the title at the age of 23, I want to say, yeah, Shogun was at the end. Look how many more years Shogun fought. Okay, so
they were good fights, John.
I didn't say they were good fights, but he went years beyond. I mean, many years beyond. And so was it that John got an old guy, or was it John was just a better guy and proved it that night, took the title? All the guys that he fought, when you're taking a look and saying, well, you brought up Gustafsson. Was Gustafsson, over the hill at the time when he first fought him? No, he was young. 30 years old.
No,
He's in his prime. Okay, so he's fighting a guy, obviously.
And look how much of a hard time he had with them.
I didn't say he didn't, but he obviously won too.
I get it. I mean, there was kind of controversy there. I thought
I heard someone say that.
He lost that fight.
Bullshit.
I thought he lost the first fight.
Oh, he did not.
It was close.
It was a good fight, but it was the rounds are pretty clear.
John, it was close. John, this is me right now. I'm just
absolutely.
I'm trying to like I'm just trying to
stirring away, man.
Hey man, we got to give our listeners and people in our super chat something to talk about, man. I'm just gonna be here stirring the shit right now. Give it,
stirring it,
getting it ready. Go ahead.
I'm just being honest.
Dom McGregor, you already lost.
People sit there and say, I'm gonna say, take a look at the run of championship fights that John Jones participated in, getting a win in every one of them. And you're going to sit there and try to tell me, oh, he fought all those people when they were past their prime. Bullshit. You're just trying to make something up. The guy fought everybody, and I mean everybody. He cannot determine someone's age or where they are in their career or anything like that. He fought everyone and he beat everybody. Stop trying to take anything away. When it comes to him in the cage, you cannot take anything away from John Jones.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, John. But right now you're starting to sound like fucking Dana White. Calm down, okay? John Jones is the greatest. John Jones is. If you talk two people in a room or five,
Dana called me the other day and said, John. He said, John, would you please do me a favor and set Josh Thompson straight on this, because this is embarrassing. He goes, I'm tired of saying it to the media.
Jeez. I just I think that now most casuals, and we talked about this last week, I said, or on Sunday or whenever we filmed, is that people are going to talk about, well, the Poatan fight may sell more. I don't think it will. Do they do pay-per-views in Brazil?
Do they do pay-per-views in
Like,
Brazil?
I know that they have the shows there, but do they have to pay pay-per-view prices there? I don't believe so. So where do they do it in? The UK. And where do they do
Canada?
In Canada, Australia,
North America, yeah.
North America. So where do you think they're going to get the most money for it?
Dude, I think the UK is actually going to be the more.
Absolutely.
You put on the John Jones versus Tom Aspinall in the UK, I think it just crushes it.
I believe so too. I believe so. Now, my only thing is, like, do you get as much star power of it being in the UK versus here in the States? Like, I think you'll get a huge turnout in terms of star power in the States versus in the UK. Now, you may get, I don't know, you may get British celebrities and stars. I'm going to imagine you would, that come out to watch that fight. I just don't think it'll be the same type of turnout you would get here in the States if you held it here. Now, I don't know what the deal is. So, but I'm just saying that I think I'm more of the notion of, like, I want to see him challenged. And then after this, obviously, he'd probably walk up into the sunset, do his thing.
I'll tell you what, if I was the UFC, I would put it on in the UK at Wembley Stadium, 91,000 seats. Put it on there, and you would have an epic, incredible live event, and your pay-per-views would be the best that John Jones ever did for you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do we see this fight on multiple platforms? Netflix, ESPN. Do we see it?
You could.
Or do we just see it? Like, look, I think they're doing that. Obviously, they do that test run with the Jake Paul and Tyson fight. It didn't go very well.
No, well, you sit there and I do the same thing and say, no, it didn't go very well. But how many could have anticipated the actual number of views that got just over Netflix? Because people were streaming it off other things. And 108 million. I mean, that's nuts. That is nuts.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So
So that lets you know that some of these other UFC events and things, when they're not getting $1 million,
Yeah.
they're getting way more. Just people are still in it.
Oh yeah.
You know, so these fighters, like you think about it, right? Like let's just say the last 12 pay-per-views, they've probably broke $1 million. In reality, probably closer to 2. But so many people, millions of people are still in this.
Sure.
Millions of people.
It's one of the things I can't do. When it comes to it, I look at it and I go, you know what? I buy every UFC pay-per-view, and it's because I owe it to the fighters.
Oh, man, I'm just afraid Dana's gonna really pick me up. Be like, that fucking Josh Thompson. I know he's fucking screaming.
He's pirating this. I'm going after him.
I'm gonna go. Look, he's gone after people before, I believe, right? Yes. Yeah, he said he has. I mean, maybe I don't know, but fuck.
Maybe he has.
Last night I need these fucking police to be knocking on my door. You're a former fighter.
You're stealing from the UFC.
Oh, geez.
I can't
and
claim
that
I
boy,
do that.
he would fucking crucify me. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
But look, what the whole thing though is something to be had. I wonder how long they're gonna wait to push this fight. Is it gonna push to International Fight Week in July? That's a long ways away.
That's
but
a long ways.
It is a long ways, but I mean, when do they start really negotiating their contracts for? Does it take over next year? When's their contract up for their TV stuff?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I think it's through 2025.
Is it through it?
I believe so.
Yeah.
It might be like
then it doesn't even matter.
It might be like a different fiscal year in terms of like, remember how Showtime was October? I'm sorry, not Showtime, but CBS or Paramount was October as our fiscal year ended in October.
Shit.
But then we went to Showtime, we went to January. So it's however they do their business.
Yeah.
Anyways, good on them. Hey, Dave, we're going to continue this conversation, but there's some super chats I wanted to get to. So let's go ahead and answer one or two of those, and then we'll go ahead and jump back into something, back into the fight. We all saw the video footage, John. What the hell is he talking about? He was hitting him in the ear. Your fist could have been hitting the ear, but your fucking forearm's
hitting straight to the back of the head.
Was a baseball bat to the back of his skull.
Yep.
Look at there. John, how many times did you ref Michael Chandler?
1, 2, 3, probably 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
Has he always been a cheater?
No, I never had that problem with him.
Because Benson told me he was a cheater.
Yeah.
Burnt Primus said he's a cheater.
Yep.
Dustin Poirier said he was a cheater.
Yep.
And obviously now Charles Oliveira has a very strong case. The fence grabs, the foreheads to the back of the head, all of that stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I never had a problem with him. I will tell you, it's like, he had the fight. He had one, I want to say it was the second fight with Patricky Pitbull, and it was in St. Louis, and he hit Patricky with just a juggernaut of a right hand, and Patricky kind of was coming into it and just, put him out. And, and I quickly, I pushed him to the side because he was like coming in, and he goes, I wasn't going to hit him. And I go, yeah, sure you were. And he goes, yeah, it was. He goes, yeah, it was. It's like, but I never had a problem with him. He was always clean. I never, I did his Eddie Alvarez fight, the second one that he had with him, which was an unbelievable fight.
First one was better.
Nice. No, both of them were bad.
It's always better when you're there. It's always better when you're there.
I mean, but just an incredible fight. I never had a problem with him, and I've always liked him as a fighter. But I will say, I think I was the one that I said, hey, all those shots, that's to the back of the head. That's your freaking forearm hitting Charles to the back of the head. And it's like, it's hard for people to understand. I wish I could remember the boxer's name. Did you see there was this kid? He was a young fighter, and he took a shot to the back of the head in a boxing match. He's a vegetable now.
Oh yeah, he's a Russian. He's Russian, I believe.
And he wasn't even Russian, but there could be another one too.
Oh, I think he's Russian. I think he's friends with Habib and them. I see them taking pictures and photos with them all the time.
I mean, it's like, this is what can happen. It's the tearing. And that's why we came up with, hey, man, you can't hit to the back of the head, because it used to be legal. When I started the sport, it was legal, and it's like, no, you can really do some damage. And so we can't have that. Someone can't see it coming. It's not healthy for the fighters. We cannot have. And so that's why the rule's there. And when you see someone, and look, there's all kinds of times when there's fights that, the bodies are in motion. You've been there, Nate, when you had Nate Diaz in trouble, you're swinging, and you can see that you're trying to hit that side of the ear. You're trying to hit the side of the head with the ear and stuff. But, as he's moving and you're coming down with a shot, it can move towards the back of the head. We don't call those. But if you look at what was happening with Oliveira was not a moving target. He was still getting hit there. And you look and you go, man, you cannot have that. Yeah, Dave has pulled up exactly.
Yeah, this is him. I believe he's Russian because he's friends with Habib. I've seen Habib and the Dagestan fighters.
And it's tragic, and that's the reason why the rule exists right there. That kind of thing. Just one shot, boom.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Now, I've sat in front of those commissioners in a filing.
Yes, you have.
Would this be changed, like in the Charles Oliveira fight? Would they change that?
No, because he won.
Contest.
No, he won.
No. I'm saying if Charles would have been, if he would have stopped the fight. If he was, if Keith Peterson would have stopped the fight and said, "Okay, fight's over," like Michael Chandler wins.
Could they overturn it? Yes, they could.
But no, I know they could, John. Would they?
It just depends on. I'm trying to remember where that fight was at. That fight was.
John, they could have overturned my headbutt.
Stop. That fight was in United Arab Emirates, right? No, sorry.
MSG.
Sorry, MSG. So yeah, the New York State Athletic Commission is pretty stringent. So I'm being honest when I look and I go, if there was a commission that would overturn it, yeah, they would be one of them. So
they seem like they would be.
They would be. They're pretty stringent. They don't like things where they feel someone took the rule and bent the rule over to get the win. They're not into that. They will change that right away. So
can we get some of them to leak over to California? Like just a couple of them, enough to like sway the votes.
How long have you been gone now?
Nah, I know, man. I know. I'm still.
So I'm just telling you. So have most of those people now. They're all gone too.
They all needed to be gone a long time ago. One more. Give us another super chat. What you got there, Dave? Okay, let's put an asterisk next to that name forever. Like you don't test positive for picograms unless you were on something at some point in time. So I have a hard time saying that. I'm always going to lean probably more towards the GSP being the GOAT because he never tested hot. People can speculate all they want because I know a lot of people were doing that for a long time. But John and I have had these conversations. I don't speculate on people that have never tested positive.
There you go.
So why would I do that to him? I think he's a fantastic fighter. He evolved with the sport. To me, it's going to be GSP. I have nothing against John Jones. People think I hold this bias against him because he's beat DC and he's fought AKA guys. No one in AKA outside of probably DC hates John Jones. None of us. A lot of us hated the fact that he took his God-given talent and he pissed it away at some points. Now he's still successful, but the fact that he felt like he needed to cheat at some point in his career, that's what bothered us. And I'm speaking mainly for myself, but I know that was some of the conversation in the gym when DC was going through the training camps for that fight. There's no reason to cheat. Bro, you're so gifted, blessed, and fight IQ wise. He didn't need to. Look at him. Look at his body style is perfect for this sport. I've said it, tall, long, and lanky, baby. He was gifted with that. Okay. And his ability, his fight IQ, he's one of the smartest fighters ever to step inside the cage. You can't take that away from him. I'm not taking that away from him. I'm going to give him his due where it's due. That's going to always to me be an asterisk next to his name. And anyone that says otherwise, hey, that's on you. If you want to choose to hold him up there, go right ahead. That's on you. I don't. I put GSP there, and there's other fighters in there as well. But I put GSP at the top right now. Fair assessment there, John. What do you think?
Look, absolutely fair. Everyone's going to have their thing. I always say John is the most skilled fighter overall that I ever saw in the cage. He is the best MMA fighter that I've ever seen. And that has nothing to do with steroids. Now, some people would sit there and say, well, yes, it does, because then, it could have been in some of those fights that he was on something. I can't do that. He did have a history where he tested positive. You can always say that, well, he deserves an asterisk. Okay. It doesn't take away from my opinion of, well, if someone asked me, who's the best MMA fighter you ever saw? It's got to be John Jones. I think that GSP is right up there, but he's got 2 losses. Okay. Now he came back and he came back and beat those 2 guys. But, if you're going to be honest, and this is where I say, on those nights where things aren't going your way, and it could be, they're not going your way in the ring. It's outside of the ring. They're not going your way. That was the Matt Serra loss, at UFC 69. GSP was a mess. He shouldn't have been fighting that night, but he did. And he lost, and he lost to a guy that he never should have lost to. Mm-hmm. Let's just be honest. When you go back, you watch UFC 83, where he ends up rematching against Matt Serra. Look at what he did in that fight, because that was GSP. He wasn't that guy, in the first match. So I look and I go, yeah, he's phenomenal. 13 title defenses. He's incredible, but he can't match up to what John Jones has done actually in the cage.
The Matt Serra fight and GSP fight is the exact reason why I always put 50 or 20, whatever it is, down on the dog. When that
heavy of a dog.
Yeah, that heavy of a dog. Always, especially when you're in Vegas. Let me just throw a little money down. Let me just see what happens.
Yeah.
And look, that's people cashed out on that fight.
It's 2 drinks. That's the way I look at it. So I don't drink the 2 drinks.
In Vegas, it's fucking 1 water. That's what it is. True. Have you ever been to a nightclub in Vegas trying to get water? It's fucking like $18 for this little tiny bottle. You're like, what the man? Just let me throw $20 down. Throw $20 down. See what happens. And cash out. Yeah. Outside of that, like GSP, and I know people are gonna probably criticize this because the numbers don't match up, but I might put BJ up there as well, only because he fought anyone, anytime, didn't give a shit. He wanted, and he came up short a lot of times, but he still fought anyone, anytime. I'm gonna always hold him in high regard, because it was never like, well, I'll fight you when the money's right. He didn't give a shit about the money. No. It's like, no, you said something. Well, come get it. Let's go. And that's what he wanted. He always tried to fight the best guy, or people that everyone was talking about. I want to fight that guy because everyone says you're the guy. Well, I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to fight that guy. And I love that about BJ.
Well, I would see it. And again, this is where I'm going to say John Jones is the best MMA fighter I've ever seen. I'm going to say that Habib was the most dominant MMA fighter I had ever seen. I'm going to say for a portion of his career, BJ Penn was the best MMA fighter. And, there was a time in his career, he was that good. And part of it wasn't in the UFC.
Yeah.
Part of it was when he was fighting on Rumble of the Rock, and he fought some really good people and he destroyed those people. And, but that wasn't in the UFC. And people could sit there and say, oh yeah, but those guys aren't that good. This time when he fought them, they were number 1. So
the best fight I'd ever seen of BJ Penn was when he fought Takanori Gomi and Rumble in the Rock.
No, he destroyed him.
Yeah. And he did it on purpose.
Oh yeah.
I remember the Bulls meeting,
because they had Gomi was the number 1 lightweight in the world. And BJ said, I'm going to show you how wrong you are.
Yeah.
And he did.
And destroyed him.
Oh yeah.
It was almost like watching a fucking mountain lion play with his food.
Oh,
it was the takedowns came so easily, the back control, the domination. He beat the shit out of him. And I remember in the rules meeting, they were like, oh yeah, like head stomps, this and BJ, but like it was supposed to be just normal UFC rules. And BJ was just shaking his, yeah, whatever you want. Yeah. That you want that too? Yeah. Okay. Elbows to the face. Like it didn't matter. Stomped that, knees to the head, to the ground. Yeah. And it was like that evil look across the face. Yeah, whatever he wants. Yeah. It just that look in his eyes of,
because he's just saying, and I'm gonna do that exact thing I'm gonna do to you.
Didn't care. And I was like, and I, obviously I hadn't seen BJ in a while because he had left the UFC and then he'd kind of stopped training at AK for a bit. And I was like, dude, you all right? Like you need some counseling? Like, do I need to call someone? You need some help? What's going on, bro?
Do you really want to think about this for just a second?
Yeah, and he thought about it. He thought about how he was going to destroy him, and he did. It was just domination. Okay, let's take one more super chat. What else you got?
Alejandro Gutierrez. Who would win, the Ritter versus Luke Rockhold?
Oh,
Ooh. Wait. Right now or in their prime?
yeah, in the prime.
Oh, Rockhold.
I agree.
Yeah.
Rockhold on the ground was so good. He just
Mhm.
didn't use it a lot.
Yep.
And his stand-up was actually really good. Until Rockhold's chin kind of got broken, in a certain point in his career, and he wasn't able to recover from it, effectively. And he had the fight with Blachowicz that just didn't go his way and stuff. Luke Rockhold, when you look at Luke Rockhold and you want to see the best Luke Rockhold, he was actually in Strikeforce.
Mm-hmm.
That was when Luke was just unbelievable. Now, he lost when he came into the UFC against Belfort. You want to talk about TRT and things like that. That's what you have with there. And he got hit by a head kick. And that's, coming into a new promotion, it's tough. It's a hard, road. And you're going up against a guy that, is a stud. But Luke Rockhold for a long time was just absolutely a dominant fighter. And he was so much better on the feet than DeRitter. And he could match him on the ground. I'm not saying he's better. I'm not saying he's better on the ground than DeRitter, but he's a better wrestler. And his striking is way above what DeRitter's is.
Luke Rockhold has phenomenal wrestling, believe it or not. Like his ability to wizard people down. I mean, he tore my shoulder out one time. I had to have surgery because of it. I tried to hit a single
that's a good wizard.
Flare. Yeah, and he fucking wizarded me right to my face, and I was like, all of a sudden my shoulder popped, and I was like, ugh. Anyways, had to have surgery on that. That was right after I fought Gilbert the first time. No, right before I fought Gilbert the first time. Anyways, but yeah, the guy can wrestle. His tall, long, and lanky body for the weight class at 185 pounds,
6'3",
definitely benefits him. Very hard to sweep and very hard to submit. Fantastic fighter, man. I just think you look at DeRitter, right? What, 3-division champion? I think over there was he 3-division or 2?
I want to say 2.
3.
I don't think he didn't make heavyweight.
85 and 205. He didn't make heavyweight. Did he fight for the heavyweight and he lost to Malcolm?
Yes.
Okay. So that being said, but John, he just had a very tough fight with Gerald Meerschaert.
Yeah.
What does that say?
It says that he's a good fighter.
Mm-hmm.
He just has some holes in his game that he's going to have to figure out a way to make that work. I look at the Gerald Meerschaert is a great matchup if you're going to want to give him problems based upon how good Gerald is on the ground. He ended up submitting him.
Mm-hmm.
You got to give it to DeRitter. Hey, it may not have been the prettiest fight.
No.
And it was a tough fight, but he got it done, and he actually walked away without a judge's decision against a guy who can really grapple, and he got the submission. So, I'm looking forward to see what DeRitter does. I do believe there are people in that weight class that are going to give him problems.
Oh, I agree.
We'll see.
I mean, I'd really like to see him and Paul Craig.
No, I don't. I really don't. I don't want to see him. I want to see him and someone like.
You don't want to see two guys butt suit towards each other? I want to see it.
I want to see DeRitter. I'm going to be honest. DeRitter against Whitaker. That's what I want to see. Let's see how you do with Robert Whitaker. Okay. Now you're talking about.
You were just like, yeah, fuck you. Let's fuck your career up right off.
Well, that's what's going to tell me exactly where you're at.
All right, Dave, what else you got for us? What other topics before we get on to more, or do you want to do another one?
We're going to move on to the next topic, but I'll let you run this real quick.
Okay. Okay. Wait, I'm glad you come. Hey, for all your best betting odds, go to BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150. YouTube150 for the promo code at BetUS. Also, John and I are drinking our Element. You guys, down below in the descriptions is our link. Use that link, and they'll send you a bonus package of product every time you use our link. We love this product. John, are you drinking it right now?
I am.
Oh. You are, and so am I. Oh, we have the same one today.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. See,
matchy.
See, you're on that black cherry, aren't you?
Matchy. I don't know.
Black cherry lime's good.
Not sure that came out right. You're on that black cherry. All right.
I won't talk to your wife.
I want you guys all to know we've continued our partnership with OnlyFans, and Dave is posting a bunch of new stuff over there for us. So, hey, I want you guys to head on over there, subscribe to us. It is free. It is free. So make sure you guys subscribe to us over there. I want to start trying to do some extra content on that platform for you guys through the holidays. So please subscribe to us over there at OnlyFans. It is free, and we're gonna have some fun. Hey guys, thanks for following us so much, man. Let's go ahead and jump more into this podcast. Dave, roll. I'll get you next after PFL. Let's talk PFL.
Boom. Let's talk PFL. PFL actually has some good fights coming up. The main event is it's not really a defending champion because they don't have. It's a former, I would say, tournament winner in Brendan Loughnane, a guy that won the $1 million going up against Timur Hizriev, who came over from Bellator and has done very well. He's now at 17-0 on his record. And this is actually a really good matchup. It's one that, obviously both guys can win, but you've got to give the advantage, in my opinion, to Hizriev, because Hizriev can get the takedown and can spend time on top. He's good on his feet. He doesn't mind being on his feet. Brendan Loughnane's got to do damage on the feet. He's not going to be doing damage on the ground.
Okay. I'm looking for this. Sorry, John.
What are you looking for?
This November 29th. There we go.
Yes,
sorry, I was looking
Friday.
For yeah, I like to see the card because I'm fucking blind. I know. I can see it. I can see that one fight there, but I like to see the other fights because it's so small there, Dave. Like,
we'll talk about this fight and then we'll scroll down.
Okay.
There you go.
Speak English.
Flow.
Flow.
Let's get the flow.
It's all about the flow.
Look, I gotta lean towards what you're saying there, John. The wrestling of Hizriev is going to be a lot for Brendan Loughnane, and I think
for 5 rounds
got the opportunity and the chance. So that body style is going to give Hizriev some problems, but the aggressiveness of Hizriev, the ability to keep that pace that he can for about 5 rounds, he can do that. He's young. What is he? 24, 23?
Yeah, he's super young.
He's a baby.
Yep.
But yeah, look, I look at him and I think to myself, this kid's got the future all in front of him. He understands this is a good format for him. Fighters like him, the PFL format is perfect for him. He's young.
He's not a baby though.
No, what is he? 20?
29.
Oh, geez. Oh, I thought he was way younger than that.
No.
Has he been with he's been with Bellator that long in PFL?
Yeah.
Now? He was with Bellator that long?
Yeah, he's with Bellator 2 years.
Fuck, man, this shit flew by. Anyways, look, I look at him and I think to myself, he's a fantastic fighter. He's got the cardio. He can do everything. He's very explosive. He throws flying knees, spinning back fists. He does the unexpected. He's in the prime of his career. I think this is a perfect format for him to fight as often and as possible to make as much money as possible. And I think all the guys that they have, not many guys will stand the test of him. He's someone that just can continue to grind on you. He can fight you everywhere. On the feet, he can stuff your takedowns. On the ground, he can take you down, and he can also avoid your striking by getting the takedowns. He's a dog, man. I'm not going to take anything away from Brendan Loughnane. He can get it done. I remember there's been a couple fights where I've ruled him out. Like, oh, no, he's not going to do well. Just impressive. Pushes the pace, makes you fight a dog fight, and his boxing on the feet is really good. He's got to get the kicks going a little bit, maybe up the middle to get Hizriev thinking about the push kick up the middle and the body kicks and all that. But I think this is Hizriev's fight.
I agree.
It's a good fight though.
Yeah. You got Dakota Tcheva going up against Talia Santos. This is the tell-all for Dakota. She has looked fantastic in all of her fights. She's been, I call her the female Carlos Condit in the fact that she's got that mean streak in her. She likes throwing knees to the body up the middle. She's got very good stand-up, but Talia Santos is by far the best opponent she has ever fought.
Yeah, Talia Santos also had the harder run to the championship.
Oh, no doubt about that.
Yeah, and so on. Then on top of that, Dakota Tcheva, she's feeling the confidence. I believe that she's thinking that she can get this done. She can. The confidence is key in this sport, in any sport. But I think with Santos, I think she's going to really try to drag this thing into the second and third round. This goes to 5 rounds, I believe. Correct? It's a championship fight.
Oh yeah, they're all 5 rounds.
Are they, John?
Yeah, all of the championship fights are 5 rounds. It's one of those ones you.
Who's your source?
What's that?
Better
No,
check your source.
I'm
Who's
not
your
having to
source?
check my source. Go ahead.
Are you the
It's
source?
That's the PFL because they're saying that each fight is a
Yeah.
championship fight. That makes it a 5-round fight.
I thought that their championship fights were still just 3,
No.
and they allowed elbows only.
No, they're allowing elbows. That is absolutely true.
This
But
could be
it
a
is a
long night, John.
5-round fight. Oh, could be.
This could be a long.
It could be.
15 fights.
Yeah. 16 fights, I think.
Jeez, good heavens.
16.
Oh, geez. Okay, so Santos, so she can get this fight to the ground. She can drag her into deep waters. If she gets her into the second, into the third round,
Yeah.
I
Be a
think
different
Santos
fight.
has to take over. It's got to be a different fight, but she got to
Yeah.
get the takedowns early to start making Desheva more hesitant on the feet.
Well, and here's the difference. If you take a look at Santos's career, she lost to Erin Blanchfield, who was able to take her down and control her. She lost to Shevchenko in a championship fight that a lot of people thought she actually won.
I thought she won.
But Shevchenko has actually she's got a good ground game, a better ground game by far than what Dakota has right now. I'm not saying Dakota won't get there, but she doesn't have that same level at this point. So Santos has a distinct advantage in this fight that you can point out. You can say that Dakota is actually better on the feet if you want, and I might even say that, but it's not of the level that the ground difference is. And so you got to take a look and say, I think Santos is the favorite in this fight.
No, actually, she's not. She's a plus 300.
Wow, I take that in a heartbeat. I'm sorry.
Dave, can you pull up the betting odds?
There you go.
There we go. I can't see him. Can you read it off to me, please?
Dakota's minus 400 and Santos is plus 250.
250 plus 250. Ooh, I saw earlier. I thought it was a plus 300 earlier.
Yeah.
But look, a plus 250. I'm gonna lean towards Santos in this fight. Let's just see if Desheva can live up to the hype, man. She had the easier road getting to the final, so confidence
Definitely.
is key. We're gonna find out. Championship fights, it doesn't mean shit until you close them out. It's like winning the Super Bowl, right? You could be the fucking Patriots, 19 or 18-0, but
18-0, going to that last one.
You're 18-1. That's
all of a sudden you got a guy. You got some guy catching a ball in his helmet.
Yeah. All right. The fight that I'm actually really excited about is Impa Kasanganay versus Yag Shamuradov. I think this is going to be Yag's night.
I was talking with someone from I was talking to Ian Parker.
Okay.
Who does, fights as far as, the betting side and stuff. And he was saying, he goes, man, they've got Impa as the favorite in this fight. He goes, I don't think so. And I said, no, I don't think so either. I said, if you look at the styles and where Impa's good and where Yag Shamuradov is good, Yag Shamuradov is a lot faster than people understand with his hands and with his feet. And he's got a lot of spinning attacks, and his wrestling is way better than people give him credit for. Impa is not that guy that's got this incredible wrestling. He can take people down, but he usually works from the standing position and tries to get things done there. He's not going to have an easy time. He's not going to have this, he's going to start to dominate on the feet. And if you take a look at a couple of his fights coming up through this tournament, he had some problems with guys on the feet. And if he had problems with some of them, he's going to have problems with Yags.
Yep.
Yags is a guy now. Impa's got a gas tank, and I've seen Yag Shamuradov start to slow down at times. So it is one of those elements that I put in Impa's corner, is I think he does have the better gas tank. But when you're getting hit with big shots, it does tend to lower your gas tank. And as an underdog in this, I think Yag Shamuradov is the guy that, if I was going to bet, I'm going to go with Yag Shamuradov.
I would absolutely agree with you. I think this is one of those fights where Yag's got the big overhand right. He hides his spinning attacks very well. He has a very sneaky head kick without the spinning attack, but he's a very well-rounded fighter, man. And I look to see, like, Impa's got to make sure that he's fighting him in a phone booth. And I don't know if he can with the amount of power and speed that Yags has. Yag Shamuradov he looked really good his last fight, John.
His last couple, he's looked really good.
Very light on his feet.
Yeah. Well, you got to figure his last fight was against Wilkinson.
Yeah.
Who is big, who is long, and he just made him miss.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, but he looked fresh all the way through that fight, though. He didn't get tired, I felt like, in the third round. Did you see something I didn't see?
No, that was a 3-round fight.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying in a 3-round fight though, he didn't look
No,
tired.
he looked good. He
You
looked
know?
good in that fight.
The only time I feel like I've seen him get tired was against Corey Anderson. But Corey's also been known for his conditioning.
Well, Corey did some damage. If I was going to say the time I saw him get tired was Carl Albrechtsen, which was a phenomenal fight. And he came back in it. And a lot of people thought he won the fight, but he looked tired at a certain point in that when Albrechtsen was working on the takedowns and stuff. But I think since Yagshimuradov has been at American Top Team, he has upped his game. He looks better than he's ever looked. And he's in a position right now to really prove that, hey, I came from, ACB and I was, the champion there. And yeah, I had, a slow start in Bellator, but then I started coming on and I just continued that rise into the PFL. And I think he can walk away as their season champion.
You have Shamil Musayev versus
this is the one I think is the fight that I want to see.
Magomed
Umalatov against Musayev, I think is, take a look. 17-0 and 19-0, I think, are the records.
No, 17-0-1, 17-0. 17-0.
Okay. 17-0-1, 17-0.
Yep.
Okay. So both guys undefeated. I think Musayev is a silent killer. I think this guy he's got better wrestling than Umalatov. The stand-up is the question. Umalatov might have, a little bit better stand-up, a little bit slicker, but Musayev he's been the Terminator. He walked through Logan Storley, beat the brakes off of him on that one. Then he went through, I want to say Rachmanov, but it's not Rachmanov. Another guy from Dagestan. He beat him twice. Yeah, Ramazanov. And I mean, that guy was undefeated, I believe, at the time that they first fought. And he's got 2 losses, and they're both to Musayev. And I just think that, man, he's the guy right now. I think he's the guy to beat. I don't know what the odds are on it, but he's the one that I would pick as the favorite.
I got you. What are the odds on that?
Umalatov is plus 175. Musayev's at minus 250.
Yep,
makes
he's
sense.
the favorite. Yeah.
Let's go to the Brent Primus versus Gadzi Rabadanov.
This is one of those ones I look at. Look, Brent Primus has done very well, but everything that he does well is something that Gadzi's able to stop. Gadzi's got very good wrestling. Gadzi's got good power in his hands. He's faster than Primus. His wrestling is actually better than Primus's. Primus's submission game is better than Gadzi's, but he's got to get the fight to the ground to be able to utilize that submission game. And I don't think he's going to be able to just get Rabadanov to the ground. I think Rabadanov at this point in his career is fighting. He's fighting the best he's ever fought. He's smoother. He's more comfortable. He's got more confidence in what he does. He opens up with his combinations in a way that he's hitting not only 1s, 2s, he's going after 3, 4, 5s at times. He just looks comfortable in there. And I think it's his year. I picked Gadzi Rabadanov to win that fight.
Yeah, I think the speed of Gadzi is going to be too much. The boxing power, Primus he's got some heavy hands as well. But the speed of Rabadanov
getting it there's the
problem. He's going to get in, land the big shot, and get out. And then when you do fight him in a phone booth, I'm going to go with Gadzi's got the better boxing inside a phone booth as well. So if you're going to try to wrestle him, he's going to try to dirty box you. Gadzi is. So Brent Primus got to try to get in deep on the takedowns, lift and scoop. Use that big body frame to try to overwhelm Gadzi. But you got to trap him first into the corner to try to lock your hands, lift, scoop, and put him to the ground. He's going to have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
Gadzi can wrestle. He's explosive. He's good at stuff and takedowns. He can do everything everywhere inside that cage. It's going to be a tough fight, but I'm looking forward to that fight. What's the odds on that fight?
You got Brent Primus at a plus 325 and Gadzi at minus 550.
Yeah,
Ooh,
makes sense.
550.
Well, it makes sense. Look, and you're also talking, and I hate to bring it up, but Brent's an older fighter. Yeah. Gadzi's right in the prime of his career right now. It's a tough matchup for him.
I'm gonna skip on. Is there any other fights on here? I wanted to talk about the Alfie Davis Mansour Bonawi fight.
Yeah, hold on. You gotta go to Goltsov against Popov.
Okay.
Which is their heavyweight, because this is on the main card. It's the heavyweight tournament winner, whoever gets it. And I don't think people are going to give Popov enough credit. Popov's going to be a problem for Goltsov. Goltsov can obviously hurt Popov maybe in the stand-up. No one's done it yet, really, with Popov, but Popov's going to wrestle. And if I saw Linton Vassell taking Goltsov down, I know Popov is going to be able to take him down. And Popov's going to be on top of him, and I've seen Goltsov get tired being the guy on the bottom. He's got a great jab, but he's got to be on his feet to use it, and I think Popov's going to take that win.
Hey guys, before we move on, I want to talk real quick about the one fight down. Barnaby is one of those guys that had a great fight with Brent Primus. Great fight. Alfie Davis, really good with the spinning attacks. That should be a fun fight. I've not seen Barnaby in a shitty fight.
Nope. Okay? He's fun.
When he loses, he's fun. When he wins, he's fun.
Yep.
He can take a shot on the feet. He has beautiful elbows on the feet. He's good in the clinch.
Got a phenomenal ground game.
His grappling is phenomenal. His wrestling's trash, but he makes it fun. Okay? It's just straight garbage, but he makes the fights fun. He fights his ass off. Very fun fighter to watch. So, hey guys, man, I like watching Jeremy Kennedy fight.
I was gonna say that Pinedo versus Kennedy fight.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a fight. Jesus Pinedo has proven himself to be. He was the tournament winner last year. He obviously wasn't in. He got injured, wasn't able to continue on in this year's. But this is the guy that won it all last year. And Jeremy Kennedy, JBC, Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, man. He's a handful as far as his grappling, and his wrestling is fantastic. This is a good matchup.
He's one of the biggest 145 pounders I've ever seen in my life, Jeremy Kennedy.
Him and Brendan Lockney, both.
That's true.
Yeah,
very true.
Both
and then one of my fan favorites, if I'm going to talk about a fighter being a fan favorite, I'm going to say Costello Van Steenis. He is just fun. Throws caution to win, spinning kick, just scraps, just comes out like he's
tries to hurt you. He tries to hurt you.
Yeah, he just has that mean streak in him. He doesn't care. He's also got the scar on the face to kind of prove it like he's a bad guy. He has a look about him, but he's such a nice guy. I love watching him fight. One of my favorite fighters to watch.
I agree.
So you guys tune in for that. That is November 29th, I believe, correct?
That is November 29th, Friday.
In the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in Riyadh.
Yes.
So, all right, guys, make sure you guys tune in for that. Let's go ahead and do some more super chats. What you got for us there, Dave?
Roll asks, if Alex Pereira gets one more belt, would that make him the GOAT?
A heavyweight, yes.
Would it?
Absolutely.
Just because you get 3 belts, that means that you're the best?
Never tested positive, and he's done something no one's ever done before.
Okay. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. But I look and I go, well, he got knocked out by Israel Adesanya, which is that's not saying anything bad.
Tired of beating the same guy every fucking week.
It is tough. It is tough. Well, it's tough to fight the same guy more than once, and he did it, 4 times. So it is tough. But I look and it's like, I love Poatan. I don't want to ever say anything that would make someone think that I don't. I just look and it's like, he doesn't have enough fights to be the guy that's the GOAT.
That's what makes it even more remarkable.
It is remarkable. I admit that. It's what he's done is fantastic. And he's done it with style. He's done it looking great. I can't say a bad word about the guy. I love him.
I think he's fantastic.
So yeah, if he was able to win a heavyweight championship, maybe that would make it. Yeah, you're the best ever.
I mean, because he's defended his titles. That's the other thing.
Oh yeah. Look, he's been fantastic inside the cage, and even outside the cage, he's fun to watch as far as what he does. But he's crazy. But it's inside the cage. He's the UFC's right now go-to guy. He's the guy that's helping him out. He doesn't say no. That might not be good for him always, but he's been great for the UFC. They're great as far as, now trying to just market the hell out of him, which they should, because he's fun to watch.
Yeah, I think he's look, if to be the first to do it, especially to do it in the UFC, to win 3 titles in 3 different weight classes, I think it's phenomenal, man. I think it's not going to
not going to happen.
I had this. You say that, John. But
I do.
It could happen.
Yeah, it could.
A guy with the power that he has, I mean, like it doesn't look good because that doesn't look good. It's not looking good for him to win that third title.
Yeah, that's.
Because John Jones is there that can wrestle. Tom Aspinall is there who's bigger. And
I'm telling you, if you took away John Jones and Tom Aspinall, I could see it. I could see it. But those two guys have something that are gonna put Alex in a position where he's at a big deficit.
Well, no, then it would be like an Almeida, right? Or it would be like a Pavlovich, right? Then we'd probably say their confidence would be so high because that's all we've seen.
No, I think Pavlovich would be a fun fight.
He'd probably wrestle him though.
He might try.
Why take the chance? Why take the chance? Keep the title or win the title.
Got that power, and you know what happens when a guy has power and knockouts. It's like, oh, I can take that wrestling, throw it to the side.
No. Next, Dave. Next,
Alejandro Gutierrez. Josh, who would you fight in Perry's dirty boxing?
I'd fight them all, man. Fuck them. I'd fight them all.
Lying son.
Yeah, bring it on, baby. No, I don't. John, I don't know, man. You have to pay a lot of money. We've talked about my number. My number's my number's pretty high.
Okay.
Look, it's only high because I went and ran the other day with my son. And I was like, yeah, it's getting higher.
It was ugly.
Yeah, the number's getting higher too. Every time I go run, I'm like, gets higher. Who would I fight? I mean, it would be fun to fight someone like, it'd be fun to fight Nate Diaz. It would just be fun. It'd be fun to fight him. I think that's pretty much about it, man. That'd pretty much be about it. I don't really have a desire to fight anybody else. And we're both, I mean, he's getting older. I'm obviously old already. Who else, John? Who else could you think of?
For you?
Yeah.
In a dirty boxing?
Yeah.
I think you and Gil in a quad would be fantastic. It's not MMA, but it would definitely be good. I think you and Anthony Pettis would be fun to watch.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so that would be another one. I mean, I could go down a list of guys that I think, that would be a fun fight.
Give me one more.
You and Donald Cerrone.
Yeah,
Donald might be too big at this point.
Yeah, I mean, peptides and TRT.
Peptides and TRT are doing wonders for that.
Got him looking
He's
good.
got hair. Everything's looking good.
I wonder if he'll grow his hair out for us to fight. He can flow.
Could you imagine? Cerrone comes back and he has to have his hair done with the braids.
Cornrows.
It's so long. He has to do the Uriah Faber.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to see it. What else you got for us?
Grandmaster AZmatic 087. John, I was rewatching Khabib versus Barboza recently. Curious as to what were your thoughts seeing Khabib dominate up close, particularly that first round.
Oh, I'm being honest. That's one of the reasons that I said, look, he's the most dominant fighter I ever saw in the cage. It's near the, and not near the end of his career, but at the point where he was in his prime. It was Khabib. He 10-8'd everyone. And, in that fight, he took and just walked through. Edson Barboza, if you're in the cage with Edson Barboza and you see the speed that his hands and his kicks, how fast they get there, and the snap that's on him, and you can hear it, it's impressive. And you go, oh shit, that's a guy you got to be. He didn't even give a blink about it. He walked through every goddamn thing that Edson did. He had Edson backpedaling. He looked like he was on a unicycle. Okay, he was doing the reverse pedal, trying to zing around, trying to get away from him. And
I think when Dave was trying to get away from me.
And I do remember he was saying, "Where are you going? Where are you going, my friend? Where are you going?"
Really?
Oh yeah, just where are you going? He's always talking every goddamn time he's in there, but he was just dominant. That's what I was
feel
thinking.
like that's a coping mechanism for him.
It might be.
It's like he just feels way more relaxed.
I think it relaxes him.
Yeah,
exactly.
when you're having a conversation with you, like, this is not a big deal. I'm just here to fuck you up and move on with my life.
That's exactly
You're
it.
here to take the lickings, and I'm going to put the pressure on you and put the pressure.
And he always says, "You need to give up, my friend. You need to give up."
And most of them are like, "This fucker's right. I probably shouldn't give up right now." What else you got, Dave?
All right, Zeke asks, should PFL get rid of tournaments? I feel like you can match make more without tournaments, and it's more appealing to watch. They're not really putting any talent out, just doing tournaments.
Go ahead, Josh.
Fuck yeah, they should get rid of it. Look, if they want to keep it, I think you keep it for
Up and comers.
Yes.
Don't make it for $1 million.
No. Look, every up and comer would love to fight for $100,000.
Hell yes.
You know, and then you do that for $100,000. You can have all the weight classes for $100,000 instead of you could have 135. You could have 185. Do it. Create talent that way. If you got the money and the funding to do it, this $1 million shit, you guys are just throwing money away, and it's been proven. It's been proven time and time again. Like, you guys got to keep going back to Saudi Arabia to ask for more money. There's a reason. It's not working. I would keep the tournament format for the beginners, or not the beginners, but for the up and comers. That was not a knock. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to call you guys beginners. Up and comers, and then you have all the ability or all the talent. And I said this last week, and I don't want to say too much because one of us still works for the company and one of us does side stuff for them randomly. But I just simply want to say, I feel like they're fumbling the bag with the talent they have. When the UFC bought Strikeforce, they bought champions, but they also bought people that were future champions. When PFL bought Bellator, or whatever the deal was considered to be, is they bought champions, but then they also bought future champions, and they fumbled those champions. Like Yaroslav Amosov, 27-1, and you guys released him.
Yeah, but why did they release him?
I don't know, John.
Money.
I don't know.
Money. Look, hold on. Here's the problem. I'm going to say it straight out. The problem is this. And I said, I think, the Bellator thing it looked good. Hey, we can get these fighters and we can do all this stuff. But a lot of those fighters, I'm not sure that the PFL vetted things as deeply as they should have, because a lot of those fighters had ridiculously expensive contracts. You know this, okay? When I say ridiculously expensive contracts, they're expensive fighters. They get paid a lot of money to fight, and you have those people that were on the Bellator roster. And I think the PFL is looking at it saying, why should I pay this person this much money to fight somebody that doesn't work for us? So they're in that position of, what do I do with them? I don't want to fight him against a nobody and just pay him this bunch of money. I want it to be something, and they don't have the whole setup for that to happen. It didn't work out the way I think that, someone was thinking when they decided to do the whole thing. So you're looking and saying, they're letting go of fighters that will cost them a lot of money. In my opinion, it's like, some of them, I thought they should have kept Lorenz Larkin. Lorenz wasn't making that much money. He's a good fighter. I think Lorenz in that tournament, if they're going to keep the tournament, he fits perfectly into that.
But can he make 170 every single time? That's the hard part.
Yeah, I don't know. And, that's that only Lorenz would know that. But I agree with you in the same thing. Tournaments, Bellator used to have the tournaments. UFC used to have tournaments. Everyone starts off with tournaments. And then you tend to find out that tournaments start to become a problem. And it's okay if you're having tournaments for those people that are new to your company.
You almost said beginners.
I did. I almost went with your line. Not beginners, but young fighters in your organizations. The tournament can actually help build and market those fighters so people recognize them and want to see them against your top tier talent that's there. Where, if you're just using guys in repeat, like Brendan Loughnane is now in repeat getting into the tournament again and trying to, because he won it, he came back, he lost to Pinedo, he was out of the tournament, now he came back this year, and now he's in it again, and it's great. But he should be one of those guys that's right at the top looking for that title. And you could have younger guys that you're paying less money to working for that tournament champion that can now go and fight a Brendan Loughnane and see, can you handle now the next level? That's the way I would look at it. But, I think they have decided that they want the tournament. They enjoy the tournament. And until, someone changes their mind, that's what you're going to see.
Yeah, you're going to end up losing a lot of those fighters that are on the older age, but still kind of in their prime at 32, 33, 34.
Yeah, because it's tough.
Fighters that cut a lot of weight. They lost Kayla Harrison for one big reason, because they kind of fumbled the bag a little bit on her. But it was hard for her to make that weight every single time if they put her into a tournament format.
That's what I'm talking about. She was making 155.
I know, but I'm saying though they were talking about getting rid of that weight class because there was no one there. They wanted her to go down and fight in a lighter weight class, and she's like, "I'm not going to make that weight every single time."
Well, she can't make it month to month.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these, like, think about this. I know that Brent Primus cuts a lot of weight. He was able to do it. It's not easy on your body though.
No, it's hard on your body.
It's hard on your body to do it, especially like in those first two. They're back to back. They're within like a 3-month period. You're really kind of getting your body back into where it was to get through a training camp, and then you cut the weight again. So a lot of these fighters that are getting paid quite a bit of money, like AJ McKee was cutting a lot of weight to make 145. Can you imagine putting him in the tournament at 145?
Wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work.
No.
So look, I feel like a lot of those fighters are going to want to be released and move on to something else. Some of them are going to get the release probably on just on their own, and then some are going to ask for their release. But what sucks is that I feel there was something there. I think the Bellator deal didn't work because they had TV obligations that they had to fulfill over in the UK. They thought it was going to be able to probably run that in with the PFL. Once Bellator was done, let's see if we can pick that up with the PFL and say, hey, PFL is going to supplement what Bellator's doing. I don't know if that worked out or not or what the deal is, but simply saying that I think that's why they had to keep Bellator around for that year. But in that process, it was just a pain in the ass. Fighters are losing interest. And because we had talked about this a couple of days ago, when one fighter starts talking,
that's
the other fighters in the gym. And Patchy Mix came out on social media. Leandro Higo, Patricio Pitbull. You've got the list is long of fighters that are now coming out. Chris Cyborg was very public before about the whole thing, but then she also had boxing mixed in with there. And there's a lot. The fighters, they start talking, but they're also the ones that have put in their dues. And they're the ones that are like, hey, man, I've been doing my work. Why am I not getting a call? Why am I not scheduled to fight until, February and March next year? What's going on? And in the prime of their career is when it's the toughest to swallow. Patchy Mix being in the prime of his career going, look, I'm considered to be the best bantamweight right now in the world. And yet I don't even have a fight date. That's the hardest part.
I'm not saying it's not. And this is why I said, I think the PFL definitely needs to come up with 135 pound. Absolutely. When you have someone like Patchy, you don't want to give away or lose a guy that's possibly the best fighter in his weight class in the world. You don't want him walking off to another organization. You want to be able to have and showcase him and have him fighting for your promotion. And you need to come up with that 135 pound weight class. You need to come up with the 185 pound, even if it's to give up some of the other ones that you have. You have Francis at heavyweight. Put on heavyweight fights, but you don't have to put on heavyweight tournaments.
Johnny Eblin. You've got Derek.
I said 185.
Yeah, 185. You got Johnny Eblin. You got Derek Brunson. You got Fabian Edwards. You got Van Steenis.
Well, they just did Fabian Edwards.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm saying you got Van Steenis and you've got Fabian Edwards. Not saying to fight him, but I'm saying Fabian Edwards and Brunson. Let's see how that fight works out. Let's see Johnny Eblin and Brunson. There's fights to be had in these weight classes. You can sign more 85 pounders. Impa Kasanganay could come back down to 85. He's not a 205 pounder, even though he fights really well at 205.
Yeah, he does fight well
again. But there's fights to be had. This is the way that I feel like if you're going to do this with PFL, if you're just going to call it PFL, which I think you should, stop calling Bellator, get rid of Bellator, close the door, shut the door on that. Okay, that
PFL MMA.
Okay, now let's make it PFL MMA.
Yep.
Now you take that, you go, look, let's have our up-and-comers fight for $100,000 in each weight class. Let's create 135, 185, because we're not spending as much money on the $1 million at the end. So let's go ahead and make $100,000 prizes for that. We have all up-and-comers. Now we're stacking our weight classes, building from the ground up. We've got great young talent that's coming in, making $100,000. Then we sign them to long-term contracts. And guess what? Now we're building we're getting homegrown fighters in our promotion that when people follow us, they know who that fighter is. Now we just got to keep them happy. And then the bigger name fighters, look, some of them fighters are going to be this way. Oh, I'm the man. I deserve to do this.
Yeah.
Look, that's going to happen no matter what. Doesn't matter if you're UFC, if you're Strikeforce, if you're Bellator, it doesn't matter. We've heard fighters are that way. You take those fighters, and then now above those fighters that you're homegrowing, you take the Johnny Eblins, the Patchy Mixes, the Francis Ngannou's, and you have them headline those main cards, and you sprinkle in how the UFC does. Oh, who's the winner of Tough? Who's the Patty Pimlet? he's going to be on this card because he's the guy who's drawing. People were excited. Paul Hughes get a title shot. Like, those are fights you can sprinkle in as the opening fight or the main event on the prelims or the opening fight on the main card with Francis Ngannou headlining. Now that person gets as much publicity as possible. I also think they got to get rid of the pay-per-views. And I know you probably sold to Saudi Arabia that you're going to do pay-per-views, but you probably should start doing not pay-per-views when you're over there, because now American fans are not able to follow and watch at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. if you're having it at noon on a Saturday. That's my thoughts.
I would love, the more that they could get the average everyday person be able just to see their product.
Mm-hmm.
That's always good, because then they see their fighters, they see how good they are, they see what these people can do, and they start to say, I want to see that person again. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah, but you got to do that here in the States.
No.
You got to do it in North America. And if you're taking all your best talent over to Riyadh because they're paying for it, which I understand why.
They're paying for it. So
they're paying for it, but you got to build the rapport here. You got to get people to tune in here so they go ahead and buy the pay-per-view. So they want to watch while they're overseas. But it is what it is. What else you got for us, Dave?
All right, last super chat here, and then we'll move on to the last thing we have. Oh, second to last. Alex Johnson, do you guys think that if Roundtree gets another rematch with Alex, that he would change his game plan and possibly threaten takedowns? Also, what are you guys must-haves on Thanksgiving?
Well, let me say my must-have is I buy a 25-pound ribeye. And then I basically smoke it. So tomorrow morning I'm doing a Friendsgiving tomorrow morning. So I cut it in half. It's about 13 pounds. Cut that in half and I cook that tomorrow. I'll smoke it tomorrow. And then on Thanksgiving Day, I'll do one just for me and the kids and the wife. That's a lot of meat left over, but we'll do it. We'll do the best we can. That's my must-haves on Thanksgiving. I don't do the turkey anymore, man. It's just, I don't know. I haven't got it perfect. I can't make it perfectly. It's not, parts of it is juicy and parts of it is
Have you tried a splatchcock?
No, I've never tried anything with a cock.
Sorry, John. I'm sure you have. We will not get into those things.
I have not, John.
It's called a splatchcock. You're actually taking the bird.
I'll take your word for it.
You're taking the bird and you're breaking the bone out of it so it's flat. Instead of being this round ball, it's flat. And man, I'll tell you what. That or a good deep fry. You got to have a good deep fry. Not, just anyone says, oh, you just deep fry. No, it's got to be done the right way. And it's delicious. But
since all the videos of people's houses catching on fire, trying to deep fry it inside the kitchen.
Dude, I was telling podcast day before we got on, man. I went through 35 birds today, man. It was the end of their lives for Thanksgiving for people. It's okay.
Turkeys or chickens?
Turkeys.
Oh, you have turkeys too?
Of course.
I thought you just had chickens.
Oh no.
Okay, turkeys is good.
I will say this. We had turkeys on my farm last year. This year, I take care of someone else's cows and he's got all of our turkeys. So I went to his place to take care of those turkeys today. So we went through 35 turkeys. I sent a picture of myself. My wife said, "Hi, my name's Dexter. What's yours?" And it showed all the blood everywhere.
That's awesome.
It's not for everyone, but it's good to be able to give the birds out and have people be fed on Thanksgiving. My whole thing is what I like family. Yeah. I like being around family. I like just enjoying each other, having good food, good conversation, and just relaxing for the day with your family. That's what's important to me.
And the first part of that question is Khalil Roundtree, will he wrestle? No, he will not.
No, he will not, because it's not what he does.
No,
I love Khalil, but if he's going to win a fight, it's going to be on his feet.
Yeah, and I actually would probably give him I'd give him a better chance in the second fight than I would.
Well, sure, because at least he would have an understanding of the size, the length, and what Alex does, and how he would have to counter those things with his style. And you got to go back and look and say, hey man, he won the first 2 rounds of that fight.
And he had success with the leg kicks, the calf kicks.
And that's the whole thing.
He had he got away from him as the fight went on, but he had a lot of success there.
So, it's a matter of, he would have to tweak some things. And, sometimes you got to look and say, maybe he would never beat Alex, but he's good enough. And I would say there's never a never in this game. You know, if you're going to say they fought 10 times, okay, Alex wins 8 of them. I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But Roundtree could definitely touch Alex and hurt him and put him away. That is always a possibility. So
I agree. What else you got for us, Dave?
All right, let's move on to this fight here. We got a fight announcement middleweight, UFC 311 in January. Kevin Holland versus the Ritter.
RDR is back. He's coming back fast. I like that. Get in there and start doing it. Going against the man who just talks his ass off in the cage. I love Kevin Holland, but I'm telling you right now, Kevin better keep this in his it's not his realm because he's good on the ground, but he's not as good as the Ritter on the ground. And so I think he needs to keep this on his feet to be successful in this fight. I think he has a distinct advantage there. His wrestling has gotten better. His ground game, as far as his jiu-jitsu, is good, but I would say the Ritter's is better. And so keep the fight on the feet, Kevin.
Kevin's going to be too fast. I don't think the Ritter's going to be able to get him down. I think the movement, the lateral movement, if Kevin Holland uses somewhat similar lateral movement like he did against MVP, I think he's got a good chance of probably getting the Ritter out of there. Just the striking, the speed, the reach, they're probably equally in length. Probably Holland maybe has a little bit of a length advantage in terms of reach advantage. But I think this is Holland's fight to lose. I'm not. I want to give.
I know you're not on the RDR bandwagon.
Never was. Never was. I thought he's a fantastic grappler, but I've seen his stand-up is atrocious, John.
It's not good.
And also, too, it's not as if like his clinch work. He has a couple good elbows and knees out of the clinch, but it's not great either. And so you got to close that distance every single time someone circles off the fence. And if he can touch you from once Kevin Holland circles off, because all the guys do is try to like take him down, he'll be good at keeping his back off the fence. But he's going back up to 185.
Yep, which I don't like.
You don't like it, but I think the speed, like DeRitter's not a fast guy.
No,
he's very touchable. He's very hittable.
Evans definitely has the speed advantage, no doubt about it. Length is about the same.
Mm-hmm.
RDR and him are pretty much the same as far as height and reach, I would say. But again, every now and then, Kevin just loses his mind as far as fighting smart. And it's like, you need to make sure that this fight doesn't go to the ground. You can, I guess, he could be in the top position, but man, keep it on the feet. And I think you have a distinct advantage in winning the fight.
Yeah. We're going to find out, man. I think Kevin Holland, if he loses this fight, he needs to go to John Jones Fight IQ school. Pay him a little visit. What else you got for us, Dave?
All right, let's look at last one here. Mike Perry, saying he's still got 3 fights left on his BKFC contract. Still hoping for the Conor McGregor fight. Obviously, we don't know what's going to play out with McGregor given all of his circumstances, but he's also still at the UFC. But after McGregor had said he was fired after the Jake Paul fight, obviously seemed kind of like a joke, but it did put out some speculation. Just want to know you guys' thoughts. BKFC, is this a guy that they want to have back? And then is that McGregor fight one you want to see? What other fights are there? I just want to get your thoughts on that.
It's pretty simple. There was this guy named BJ Penn, and he left the UFC, and Dana was just freaking pissed because, he went to do his own thing with his brothers and just all this stuff. And Dana was a smart enough man to say, "Oh, BJ, you want to come back? Absolutely, come on back." Okay, you can always be in a position where fighters and promotions will always be at battle with each other at certain times over things, and fighters are going to do things like Mike Perry did, getting this dirty boxing going with his manager. Okay, Mike Perry is one of the best things going for BKFC right now. He is fun to watch. He's exciting. People want to see him. And he brings action in that, realm of fighting as far as bare knuckle. You don't ever want to see that kind of guy just walk away. I think that Mike Perry is good for bare knuckle fighting championships. And I think bare knuckle fighting championships are good for Mike Perry. And they need to, put the little things aside and do business, because that's what it is. It's business. You know, if Perry's had words with Conor, great, have words with Conor. Okay, you're going to say Conor is, you know, part of the ownership now of BKFC, and he's got a beef with him. There's no better place in the world for you to settle that beef than in the cage with your bare fist. So maybe you can make that fight happen somewhere along the way towards the end of your 3-fight contract, and see if you can make that fight happen. It would be a huge seller. It would make you a ton of money. This is about business. Be a businessman.
He'll never fight Conor McGregor. That's one. Conor McGregor will never fight him.
Okay.
Do I think he should go back to BKFC? Absolutely.
Okay.
I think if the BKFC at what's his name, Dave Feldman,
Yep,
was smart, which I think he is. I think he's an extremely smart person. He's great. He's done a great job doing what he can to promote the BKFC brand and fighters that are there. Mike Perry needs to go back. That's what people know him for. People don't remember him from his UFC fights. They don't remember him from, I mean, they're going to remember because it's most recent is the Jake Paul fight. But like if he goes back to BKFC, no one's going to talk about the Jake Paul fight anymore. They don't even care.
No.
They just want to see him inside. This is what he was born to do. Bare knuckle boxing. This is it. So it would be foolish for either one of them to say, I'm going to leave. I want you back, and I think I should go back. That's the way this whole thing should work. In terms of the Conor thing, I mean, Conor's got his own issues to work out. I think with the Conor situation, I really believe that Conor's going to end up getting a fight under his belt as soon as possible. What that does is that takes away all the press about what's happening. It just puts the press and puts the eyeballs back onto his fighting career. They will talk about his fighting career. He gets a win in the fighting career. Guess what? All the other stuff they stop talking about.
Yeah, there you go.
And look, there was basketball players that cheated on their wives. They got caught. There's basketball players that have been exploited for a bunch of stuff. There's football players. There's all these other athletes, right, that have gone through this. And what did they do? They went out and tried to win championships. They went out and tried to win a game. They went out and tried to went out there and tried to win titles. As soon as you do that, people stop talking about all the other stuff. That was it. So, golfers have done this. They've gone out, they've gone out and won.
Golfers have had their teeth knocked out by the 9-iron.
Yes. So, you know what I mean? So, like, when something like this happens, the best thing for Conor McGregor to do is to get back into the cage and get a fight. Take the emphasis off of what has been going on and focus and redirect it towards something else. I think you see Conor fight in early. I don't say early, but I say probably by International Fight Week, you see Conor fight. He needs to get the stigma of this thing off of him, and the only way to do it is to get back inside the cage. So look for him to fight. He's going to look to fight as soon as possible.
I would hope. I really would. I hope, because he needs it. He needs to get himself focused on the only important thing besides his family there is, and that's his fight career right now, and get away from all the bullshit. Just get away from it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk much about it because it's, anyways. Yeah, it's just yeah. Go ahead.
I'll wrap you guys up on these two super chats. Alejandro asks, and I'm not totally sure what this question means, but I'll just read it verbatim. Future UFC fight nights on Netflix, pay-per-view, or ESPN? ?
Well, I want Netflix because I already pay for it, and that way I don't have to pay pay-per-view. So I'm all about Netflix, and if it starts to buffer, I'm going to be pissed.
I think they'll probably, if they are going to do a deal with Netflix, I think could see all the fight nights being on there.
Yeah,
I could see that. Almost like a Thursday night football. It's not the best quality of stuff, but it is fights. It is football. So you're getting content for that. Outside of that, I think pay-per-views will be restricted just strictly for the best fights, for title fights and the top 5 fights that they really want to push. I could look to see them potentially stop doing so many fights on their cards. I think they'll start spreading it out. To 8 to 9 fights.
Yeah, what I can see is them actually utilizing the Netflix to do, we'll say, 6 shows that are big time shows that they're not getting pay-per-view money off of, but Netflix is the one that's footing the bill on it, and they're putting at least a pay-per-view quality card. It is a numbered UFC on Netflix, and that way you're only paying for 6, we'll say, pay-per-views a year, which are phenomenal cards in and of themselves. I mean, I think not only, could it be financially beneficial for them, they're giving something back to their fans too.
You could say that, but then if you're ESPN going, hey, well, then why would people watch our pay-per-views at $80 to $5 a piece when you could just wait for the Netflix ones to show up?
Because you're going to miss a pay-per-view. Yeah, you're missing fights.
No, I'm not talking
about
it
is.
I know who's missing fights.
The fan.
Yeah, but do you think ESPN gives a fuck what the fans are missing? They want their money. Like they want to hold all the pay-per-view shows on their platform.
They would.
Why would I let
they
Netflix?
Would.
Yeah, but no.
They're the ones doing the pay-per-views.
Who has more subscribers, Netflix or ESPN?
Netflix.
There you go. So people are going to pay the $10 over at Netflix, and ESPN's going to be stuck holding the bag going, hey, we're paying for this too.
Yeah. I'm not saying they're stuck holding the bag.
They are stuck.
They get, hold on, what did I just say? They get 6 shows that are unbelievable pay-per-view shows that people have to watch. They have to see. So they'll buy it on that, while Netflix gets the other 6, we'll say, numbered UFCs that they're good shows. They're just not like the 6 that are pay-per-view.
No, you said Netflix gets the 6 shows that are like that.
No,
originally.
I said split it. Netflix gets 6 of the numbered. If you realize the UFC numbers are the ones that are pay-per-views, right?
Yes.
Okay. So they get 6 of those because there's usually 12 to 13 a year. Okay. So they get 6 of them, we'll say. And we'll say those are good cards. But when you're going to go to the actual, you got to pay for it pay-per-view, those 6 are just freaking out of this world cards. That's what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, but normally ESPN pays for both. So ESPN pays for the pay-per-view, they pay for them to do other shows on there. Why would I, if I'm ESPN, why would I say, yeah, I'm okay with you taking 6 of our
I'm not saying
pay-per-views.
ESPN's going to be okay with anything. The UFC is going to do what they're going to do, and ESPN's got to figure out, do we want to keep them? Do we want to, be in this where we're partnered in this company as far as other networks get to put on the shows, that we don't? That's for them to figure out. Are they willing to do it?
What's funny is that ESPN, like they don't normally get the Super Bowl. So maybe they will relinquish all the pay-per-views and give it to Netflix and then turn around and be like, look, we want all the other stuff though. We want the every week fights. We want the fight nights. We want
there's a whole lot more of those.
Ultimate Fighter, or we want the Dana White
Contender Series. Sure.
We want all of those that don't cost us as much, but they're constantly on.
Yeah. That's
what we want, because that's what they want. They want the NBA
they want content.
Yeah, they want content for their app. Yep, I get it. What else you got for us, Dave?
All right, we'll wrap up here. Shiz Akhmedov wants to pick a fight with Josh here. Josh Thompson with a P. Why don't you ever give my brother Hamzat credit? You all remember when Hamzat kept signaling Gilbert to hit him 3 times, 1-2 rounds against former champ Camara, and doesn't matter if he only lost 1 round.
Oh, jeez. Here we go. I'm going to be called a Hamzat hater. I'm not a Hamzat hater, man. I actually really enjoy watching him fight. I'm excited about him. I was excited when he came into the UFC. I'm still excited about him, fighting for the title next, I believe, correct?
Yeah, it looks like.
I mean, that's what they're talking about, but they're trying to get the dates, or they're trying to look. Now that Trump is president, they may let Hamzat in the country to fight. That's one way of looking at it.
One way of looking at it.
He may not be allowed into the country. So that's where they're having some visa problems. Look, I have no problems with him. I still believe that the verdict is out on him. People want to give him all the credit. John's shaking his head. So he fought Gilbert. He made the weight. I give him a great win on that fight.
How long have I been telling you how good Hamzat is?
For a long time.
Okay, from the very beginning, I said, I saw this guy fought, and look, he's really good, and he's good. Both his grappling is fantastic, and his stand-up is good.
I see Dave smirking in the background over there. Oh shit! Look, John, I've never said that he wasn't good. You were also talking about pre-COVID.
That's true.
And that's where I'm hanging my hat on this whole thing. He hasn't been the same fighter since pre-COVID. Sure, he finished Robert Whittaker, and I'm not going to take anything away from that. That's spectacular. The way that he did it, fantastic. Okay. I can't say, like, if you're finishing guys in the first round, there's nothing I can say. You're proving that you're a stud. What happens when it gets to the third round? That's all I'm saying. I want to know what's going to happen when you fight someone that gets you into the third round. Who 185-pound champ?
Just because you had big time cardio, this is what you're going to hang your hat on, is that, well, I don't see a guy that is as fresh in the third as he was in the latter part of the first.
He may get a second win at the end of the third. We haven't seen it, though. We haven't seen him get, we've only seen him go to the third. Look, I go back to this. He looked tired in the third round against Gilbert, and he made the weight for that, which might have been the weight cut.
That's 170 pounds.
That's 170 pounds. It might have been the weight cut. And look, who are we kidding? Gilbert Burns is a fucking stud.
Yep.
So the fact that they had a great round in that third round,
that was a
fight.
Overall, that was a really good fight.
Fantastic fight. Fantastic fight. Okay. And then he comes on and he fights another 170 pounder, but at 185, who took the fight on short notice, beat a former champion. Sure, that means something, but he's still a 170-pound fighter. Took the fight.
He's a 185-pound fighter.
John,
just like, hold on.
Is John trying
when Alexander Volkanovski fought against Islam Makhachev, I recall you saying, look, he's not a 145-pounder. He's a 155-pounder. In fact, they weighed the same on that day when they were weighed. They both weighed the same.
Okay, then I want to see the weight of Kamaru Usman and Chimaev weighing the same. Show me that, and then I'll go ahead and
I don't have to show you that. They're both 185-pound fighters.
They were not 185.
What do you think Kamaru Usman weighed in at?
Probably I'd say 185.
Okay.
Maybe 186.
Maybe 186.
I have no hate for Hamzat. I'm looking forward to seeing him fight against DDP. If I was to look at the rankings in all of these fighters, let's see. Who else would he fight next? John, let's see. DDP. You got DDP. You've got Imavov
Strickland
for him. Kai Bahalo would be fun for him. Yep. Outside of that, you got to get some fresh meat in there.
I think him and Strickland is fun.
Him and Strickland is fun. It is. I mean,
they've trained together.
Yes. Yeah. I've heard it didn't go Strickland's way, but who knows? They're still training. We're not talking about fights. We're talking about training.
It's practice.
So, but look, there's young talent that is coming up right now in that weight class. There's a lot of young talent that are there. So, I think, to me, I even think that Brendan Allen makes for a fun fight against him. Makes for a fun fight. Brendan Allen's good on the ground, decent wrestling, on the feet, can deliver some shots, but like, good fight. I know that he's just coming off of a loss, but there's some fighters in here that make for a fun fight. Strickland, Izzy, Imavov, Bahalo. I'm going to skip over.
What about Vettori?
You think Vettori makes a good fight for him?
I said, what about him?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think Vettori does. I don't think Cannonier does. I think Brendan Allen gives him a little bit of a go.
What about Izzy?
Izzy makes for a fun fight.
Yeah.
I think the takedown comes early. If Izzy can survive the first round,
yes,
then I think it starts to change a little bit. The footwork, all those things. But then again, John, the fight when he fought Strickland, he looked tired in that fight. And then Izzy's last fight, he looked tired at the end of that fight too. Like, Izzy looks like he's getting tired as the fight goes on. When all the movement and all that stuff. Remember when Anderson Silva got older? He started doing all this hand movement shit. And, it was almost felt like he was doing it as a distraction because people respected him so much on the feet that they didn't realize what was like. They were thinking that like the Vitor Belfort kick was going to come at any moment. Every time he started doing all the dancing and the faking, like he got hit and it was no big deal. It was almost like, to me, it felt like he was doing it because he was getting tired. He was slowing down. So if I do that, these guys respect me so much. They all admire me because everyone did. And they were afraid that all of a sudden the Vitor Belfort kick was going to happen and they'd be on the end of the highlight reel. That is, I think, where we're at right now with Izzy. Izzy can do everything. He can wrestle. He can stop takedowns, but can he survive the first round with Hamzat? We're going to find out. I think we'll eventually find out. Izzy's not done yet. He's still young. He still has some gas left in the tank.
Oh, he definitely.
Drickus, though, let me ask you this, though. John, does he get past Drickus?
I don't know. Drickus is a hard package as far as he's awkward.
John likes hard packages. You've been great with the words tonight.
Well, I don't know where your mind's at, but mine's in a completely different.
OnlyFans, baby. My mind's been on OnlyFans all day. You guys can join us over there at OnlyFans. Subscribe to us.
But Drickus he's awkward, which makes him sometimes difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
Hamzat, as far as the wrestling part, he's got the superior wrestling, no doubt about it. But I don't think Drickus gives a shit about that. Drickus is a guy that's going to go out there and he's going to try to put hard shots on you. And if you take him down, he's going to work his way to get back to his feet because he's super strong. He's going to be a hard person for you to deal with, especially early. He does get tired too, but he tends to recover, which tells me he's in great shape. And obviously, I think Hamzat can beat DDP, but I think DDP could actually, could absolutely beat Hamzat. So this is one of those ones. This is why they fight the fight. I want to see it.
I am excited for the fight. And if he makes it look easy, I'm going to have to sit up here and eat my words again.
Okay.
But if it ends up going to the third and fourth round, he starts to peter off and be like, see, I fucking told you guys. Don't think I'm not going to go back through all the damn comments.
Oh, don't think you're not. Yeah.
That's what I do. I'm going to go back through all the comments and be like, yeah, you, I'm keeping all the receipts, guys. I'm keeping them all. I'm coming at you guys. If he gets tired in the third or the second or the fourth, you guys are all going down. All going down. I'm bringing you all with me. Dave, what else you got, buddy?
We're going to wrap up there.
Oh, man, we're going to wrap up there. All right, guys. Hey, go to WayneInMerch.com. WayneInMerch.com. Check out some of our apparel. I know some of you guys haven't bought it. But, hey, if you guys buy the apparel at WayneInMerch.com, take a picture of it, wearing it, and I will send you a package of LMNT. So, hey, if you guys buy some apparel, show me the most recent receipt of you guys buying it. Okay, and you wearing it, take a picture of you guys wearing it and post it on your social media and tag us on it. I will send you a box of LMNT. All right, guys.
I thought you were going to just send them one little packet.
I owed you guys a not a bonus thing. What is it? I owed you guys a giveaway this month. Well, that's my giveaway. Hey, you guys take a picture of you guys wearing our shirt, our apparel, and show me the receipt you bought it this month in November. I'll do the whole month of November. You show me.
You hold it. You're going to do the whole month of November, which has how many days left?
Yeah. If you got a receipt,
like 3 days left.
If you bought some apparel
4 days
from this month of November, if you bought apparel in November, I'll send you a package of LMNT.
Okay.
All right, guys. It'll cost me more to send the package. But hey, I love my fans, man. I love you all. I want to thank you guys so much. Maybe I'll add a little surprise in there too. All right, who knows? You never know. No, John, it's not your.
He's gonna make it. He's gonna make it a hard package.
It's gonna be a hard box. It does come in a box though. Remember that song "Dick in a Box"?
Oh, dude,
that was great. Oh, Dick in the Box. It was good. Dave loved that. He loved that song.
That was a good song.
That was a good song. I want to thank you guys so much. And hey, this episode is brought to you by BetUS. BetUS, YouTube 150, 150% bonus on your first deposit, 125% bonus on your next two deposits. Also, drink your LMNT. The link is down below in the descriptions. They'll send you a bonus package with every purchase. And like I said before, we are back on OnlyFans. Join us over there. Subscribe to us over there. It is free. Please hit us up in the comment section down below. Let us know how you guys are enjoying these live chats. Hopefully you guys enjoy, man. We're having fun. This is awesome. This is actually a highlight. Dave been trying to talk us into doing this for fucking 10 years now. Okay, but we're a little slow. I've been hit a lot in the head, and John's just fucking old. So we're totally screwed. All right, guys. I want to thank you guys so much. And John, take us away, buddy.
For everyone, please have a fantastic Thanksgiving. I hope you get to spend it with family. Have just a wonderful weekend after that, and we will see you.
Last thing. Do not drink and drive. Please do not drink and drive.
No.
Please don't. Enjoy your time with your family. Please.
If you're gonna drink, Uber.
Yep. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Have a good one.